Hello there. Ron Callis coming to you with another episode of Automation Unplugged. This is episode number 78. We've got the one and only Josh Christian joining me, and hope you're having a great Wednesday. It is about just after 12:30. If you're listening to this on replay, then it could be any day of the week or any time of day. But if you're joining us live, thanks for joining us live. Thanks for stopping in. And don't forget to like and comment or even share. Let me jump over to Facebook, as I often do, and just make sure that, in fact, we are streaming live. So just bear with me one moment. And that was very loud in my ear. I wonder if you guys heard that text ding. There we go. Looks like we are live. So lot going on here at One Firefly. Just came out of yesterday. We did two big webinars, partnered up with C4 for those. Actually had the largest webinars we've ever held in the history of One Firefly were held yesterday, back to back. Did one at 1 o'clock, one at 5 o'clock, and they were just a ton of fun. It was a marketing 101 course, and did a bit of marketing education and a bit of product overview. So check out the One Firefly website. Under the Learn tab, there is a webinar section, and we'll have that recording posted. We should have that up today, June 12th. So don't forget to check that out if you want to download that and watch that after the fact. And let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Josh. Let's not keep him waiting in the wings. Let's bring him in. Hey, Josh, Ron. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
I am super, man. Thanks for joining me. You in fact are a returning guest.
Yes. Going back to way last year, I believe, early last year.
Yeah, I looked it up. If I'm actually gonna attempt, we'll see if I can get technology to behave here, Josh. I know we're early in the show, so this is a bit risky. But let me try to do this. We'll see if we can do it. There we are. So here's the One Firefly website, and if you come over here to the Learn tab, there's Automation Unplugged. And here you are. I found you. You're episode 17 and 18.
Double duty.
Do you remember why we did 17? Was it just that good? Did we have internet issues? Do you recall why that happened?
It was that good, and we had internet issues too.
Yeah. That was good. We didn't rehearse that at all, folks. That was nice. So, and by the way, our lovely audience, you can always go to this page, and if you want to see who we've had on the show or any of the topics, we've got this built out pretty nicely here, and you can do a search by name or a search by topic, and we have all of that here. But let me bring that down. So for Josh, some of those watching and listening may not know you. They may not know the HTA. Although, look, we got a shout out. Kendall says, "Hey, Josh, glad to have you back on the show."
Nice.
So, there you go.
Thank you, Kendall.
So, Josh, give our audience a little bit of the background. Who are you? Where do you come from? And maybe even what is the HTA? But let's do you first.
Sure. There's a lot in there. Yes. So I've been in this industry since 1995. So I guess that puts me as a veteran already, but been kind of worked up the ranks through different types of custom integration. In 1995, I worked for a retailer, mom and pop retailer, that started getting into custom installation. But then I left that firm in 98 and went to a full installation firm, or we didn't even have a storefront. It was just a no showroom. Custom installation only. And through that, up from 1998 all the way through 2015, stayed at that company in the sales and marketing role. And we evolved from small projects, basic low voltage integration, all the way through massive, huge estates out. I'm in Southern California here, so there's some pretty big homes being built in Beverly Hills, Malibu, and Bel Air and such. and got involved in those really, really big projects that could get into the 7 figures. So I've grown up in this industry, had a lot of fun doing it, and also through my positions I've had since as a marketing person, I did a lot of outreach to architects, designers, and builders going back to right around the year 2000. So that's also something really near and dear to my heart, is working with the design and build community and basically building a bridge between what integrators do and their clients' needs to get technology put in their home and make it all fun and easy to use.
Yeah, so I would just go back. I remember when I first met you and encountered you. I think it was maybe back in around 2008 or 2009 in LA. I was visiting the company that you worked for, and I remember that even then you guys were very forward thinking in terms of marketing and blogging and content creation, speaking to the design and construction industry. I mean,
Yes.
where did that come from? Was that you, and you knew that was the right thing to do, but it seemed to be a bit ahead of the curve?
Yeah, it literally, it was just thinking logically when we started, I went to work for this one integration firm, and how am I going to get business? I mean, basically, remember the old Nextel phones?
Oh yeah.
Here's some box of business cards, and here's a Nextel. Go out there and get business. So just thinking,
I'm old enough, Josh, to where when I started selling, I was issued a pager.
Hey, I had one of those too.
My staff is listening to this and they're like, "No way, are you?" Well, maybe they're saying, I'd like to think I'm not that old, but yeah, that's how I started my sales career, with a pager.
Our gray hair gives us away. Yes,
it does.
So yeah, this is what happened. It's kind of an interesting evolution. I'm pretty close to the Pacific Design Center in West Hollywood area, and that's a big mecca of showrooms for interior designers and architects to take clients to and pick furniture. It's a beautiful place. And I thought, well, it would be good to come up with a lecture, basically a presentation to these folks and let them know about what we do. So I created one on my own and gave that in 2000 at the Pacific Design Center. And that just cartwheeled into other things. It led into presenting more at the Pacific Design Center, and architects, designers, and builders getting to know who I was, what we do. And once people in the trade heard that, I was asked by Buzz Delano to create a presentation to CEDIA. So I taught at CEDIA Expo for a few years on how to work with interior designers, which actually kind of got worked into their CEDIA's core curriculum. So kind of a veteran at this. And yeah, I just thought it makes sense if we're going to be a successful company and architects are designing homes, interior designers need to implement technology in their clients' homes because their clients want it, then I should go out there and make relationships with these folks and let them know, hey, I understand what you do. I could speak your language. I understand aesthetics. Let's put this technology in your home, and you don't have, then that way they don't have to, look in the Yellow Pages. We're not really dating ourselves, or just they didn't even have Yelp back then, but they were really at a loss to find out who's going to put this technology in their home. So I went out.
Did you have to walk to work both ways uphill in the snow barefoot?
How'd you know?
Exactly. Me too.
And our shoes made out of wood.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Question. So you were at that integration firm. You obviously learned a lot. You're in a booming market in Southern California. It's still a booming market. And how did you ultimately have this brainchild of the Home Technology Association, HTA? So how did you, end up having, and I would even say the creativity and the gumption to go think that you could be this sort of change? So why was HTA created, and how did you end up starting it?
Yeah. So I wish I could take credit for being the brainchild for it. I was one of the early people attached to it. But the idea was created due to a need that I totally understood because I lived it as an integrator. And that is that this industry is very strange. When it comes to other trades that are working in a home, the custom integration trade is odd. And the reason it is because anybody could really claim to be a technology expert. There's no test you have to pass. There's no license you have to pass to be a specialist. Yes, some states have a low voltage license, but typically that low voltage license really does not have much to do with what integrators really do on a day-to-day basis, making technology work. So, the guy down the street that knows how to hook up an Echo device all of a sudden becomes a professional. Just because he knows a little bit more than the client doesn't necessarily make them a professional. Yet the good integration firms, and like the firm I worked at, I consider ourselves one of the best firms there was. We're competing against these quote unquote integrators that really had no business even putting a bid on some of these homes we were working in. They just didn't know either how to do it, or they didn't know what they didn't know.
Or if the customer said yes, the customer was doing themselves a disservice because the likelihood or the probability of success was not that high, right?
Yeah.
So it's just the customer doesn't know what they don't know.
Exactly. They don't know what they don't know. They had no place to really vet that company or a way to compare that company versus anybody else. So it's kind of the Wild West. And what would happen is at that company I worked at, we would mostly win the projects we went after. Of course, we'd be out of business if not. But several times a year, we would lose a project to we'll call them trunk slammers. Let's just use the term that everybody uses. A company that either just got in business or maybe they're an okay company, but they specialize really in small projects, more of the hang and bang, simple projects. And that's not saying anything negative about their company, but their company is set up more in quick turn projects. They do a great job at that. But now if they're trying to do a fully integrated home that's very complicated, that might have, usually a year plus build cycle where you need project management, design and engineering docs, all the things that good integrators do to deploy a project like that. We were being compared to them, and we are losing projects to companies that don't have any of this. And you would be shocked that a client that's that successful to be able to build this beautiful home would be able to kind of, we call it fall for that. Like, how can they equate us with them?
You'd think they were smarter than that, right?
Yeah, you'd think they were. And what would happen is we came to the realization, if you don't know what this stuff costs, which they don't, clients typically don't know what integrators' systems cost, and there's no way to compare it, then you get what you got. We're in an industry right now where clients just really have no clue. And all the integrators out there listening to this, I'm sure have been there and nod their head like, of course, clients building a nice home, you can kind of see the cars they're driving. Maybe the architect, designer, and builder on the project. These are all top quality people. And you put together a completely realistic proposal specifically to get exactly what that client wants. They look at you like you're crazy because they just don't know what things cost. And then they'll go shopping around. And if they start shopping around, and the reason why is they don't trust. And there's no basis for trust yet. Well, yeah, my architect said you're good, but come on, whatever, add a number here in the proposal. That sounds crazy. They might not verbalize that to you. Sometimes they do. But if they don't verbalize it, what do they do anyways? Often they'll start shopping around. Is this price fair? I don't know. What typically happens with integrators, and I live this again, is if that client, if you're the first person they talk to, now the client talks to, let's say, a couple other firms that are good firms, good reputable firms in your market. After 2 or 3 times of hearing the same thing, roughly, the proposals are fairly similar. The client goes, wow, okay, I guess that's what reality is. It's more money than I thought, but all right. But what happens then? Often it's the company that client spoke to last wins the bid. I've been on the losing end of that far too many times than I care to admit. On the other side, and even worse, because it's going to end up worse for the client, is instead of talking to a good firms next, they talk to someone they find on Yelp or Craigslist or just anybody in town. They start doing Google searches, and they find a company that might have a pretty website, and the salesman's really good, but they're not qualified to do that work. And now, oh yeah, I could come in at 50% of that or 70% of that. And the client goes, aha, I knew I was getting ripped off. I knew it. I just knew it. And then they hire that firm, and we know what happens when that situation occurs, right? Everyone loses. The client most definitely loses. They don't get what they thought they were getting. The architect, designer, and builder attached to that home, if it's a new project, a new construction project, aha, another one of these companies, this industry stinks. They're very cynical, the trade partners towards our industry overall. That's a general statement, but overall, and I have a lot of personal experience with this from teaching and lecturing, and hearing a lot of feedback that they really have a problem with our industry because it's such the Wild West. The quality level is so variant. So we all lose, right? And then the manufacturers, when that situation happens, the client takes the cheap price for a company that's not qualified. Client loses, the industry loses. The integrators that in town that should have got that project, that would have been able to do a good job, lose out on that sales process. But then the brands that are installed in that house, the control brand, if there's home automation or smart home or in the shades and all the things that you have to be programmed that might not work right, then the client thinks, aha, brand whatever here that they're looking at on the touchscreen or the keypad stinks. And manufacturers are tired of getting thrown under the bus for a bad deployment. So all of that past that I experienced personally, other integrators did, kind of informed something needs to fix this. And the Home Technology Association was born out of fixing those problems. And it was put together by a very smart integrator. The thought process, I was brought in to kind of take that idea and move it forward into creating the association. And we did that with the help of 9 very smart people in this industry. If you go to the htacertified.org on the website and you click on the who link, you could see who's on the board of advisors and the integrators.
I'm going to attempt to do that. What is the website?
htacertified.org.
All right. There we go. I'm actually going to go back to our screen share here, see if technology continues to behave. Okay. So where would I go?
The who link at the top there, top nav.
There you go.
Excellent. So you could see there's 9 board of advisor members there. And, you can see there from the names, you got Crestron, Savant, Lutron, Control 4, Jason Knott from CE Pro, and Frank Stearns from Sony, Noah Kaplan from Leon, Richard Gleich from Auzione, Jason Sloan from Dana Innovations, people that are very well known, very well respected in this industry. And it took us many, many months. They jumped at this opportunity to help the industry, and they see this as a way of helping the industry. So these gentlemen took the time to get together and discuss what are the important things that are going to be baked into a standard. And what basically Home Technology Association is creating a standard, because there has been no standard in this industry. There's been no barrier to entry, so we built it. The Home Technology Association built a standard, which is basically a barrier to entry, to say, this is what a good company looks like. These are the attributes a good company has. Let's build a standard around that those firms that apply for that, in the way that a dealer will become certified is they apply on this website here to become certified. And it's a pretty big application that they have to go through. But we're looking at all these company metrics and details to see if they're living up to that standard. And there's 9 different endorsements that are needed before someone can be, if they're certifiable. 9 different endorsements have to check out, and it's a minimum 9. It could be more. So it's a very real standard, and it was built to fix those problems that we talked about earlier. That now the dealer that's certified could explain early on in a sales process to a prospective client or a new trade partner they're going to meet, a new architect, designer, builder, to say, just want to let you know that in this industry, there is a standard of excellence. It's administered by the Home Technology Association. Only about 10% of firms are expected to meet that standard. We're one of them. I could send you a link to show you what that standard's all about. Then move back onto themselves. They don't have to go on and on and on about Home Technology Association. I gave you basically a little elevator pitch that just shot off the top of my head, but it explains to a consumer some very important things, that a small subset of this industry meets this standard, and it's important that they hire an HTA certified firm. Now, since you're on the page there, if you click on the lower left square, it says HTA certification defined. That's where the standard is published, and that's where you could call it the teeth of this certification standard is. There are all, and if you look at this is a consumer-facing website. It's not trade-facing. If you look at the site through a consumer's eyes, it all just makes sense. Like, well, of course I want a company that's been endorsed by the trade and that has insurance, and that you can see all the specifications there. Architects, designers, and builders have endorsed them. Industry peers have endorsed them. So there's all the little bullet points there, and it gives that client the trust factor that they need to hire you. they got referred to you, you get a referral from a past client, an architect, designer, builder, great. It's already in your favor that you're going to win that project. Things are going for you. You show them this, and then it's even better.
I just had someone stop in and give us a comment here, so I'm just going to put that up on the screen. Jessica, I happen to know Jessica is with a manufacturer named Sonnen, and she says, "Hi, Josh. Thank you for sharing information about HTA."
Hey, my pleasure, Jessica. Thanks for tuning in. Excellent.
So if you're out there listening, by the way, if you have any questions for Josh as we navigate this conversation, don't be shy. Certainly post your questions, and I'll read them live here to Josh, and we'll have him field them for all of our audience. But sorry to interrupt, Josh. Just whenever anyone makes a comment, I like to make sure they get a little shout out, and I like to throw that out up on the screen there.
Great. Yeah, great. Thanks.
How has certifications, grown? If I go back and watch the show that we did a year ago, and if we, now understand where you're at with dealer memberships, I mean, I guess you could describe that number if that's part of your methods, or you could maybe just talk about percentage growth in terms of number of dealers that are signing on and becoming certified. How have things been over the last 12 months?
Yeah, it's slow, steady growth. We're at 171 certified integrators as of today. There are applications that have started, so there's more in play. There's probably about 7 of them right now that are, maybe more than that, probably about 10, I guess, that we are doing active vetting right now. So the applications are in, and we're doing our due diligence, our background checks. So it is growing. Which we've had good success with is we have manufacturer support. So some manufacturers have put in their newsletters nudges to get certified, because they see it as a benefit to their integrator. If there's a way that you could tell a client that you truly are better, some neutral third-party validated way, and you can win the business, great, go for it, do it. So it's growing, it's doing well. We've had support recently, and here's something too to talk about manufacturer support and kind of how this is growing. It's a flywheel that keeps picking up more and more momentum. Is magazines fortunately have written some great articles about the HTA. So you'll see that in CE Pro, Residential Tech Today, Residential Systems, Connected Design, all great magazines. They've done articles about it. But also last year, over a year ago, Savant on their dealer finder even calls out HTA certified right there in the search results. If you click that link, it pops up a thing to the consumer explaining why, here's the 3 pillars of HTA certification. So it's to the consumer.
So you're saying right on the Savant website?
Yeah, I go to the Savant dealer finder.
Well, let's do it live. Let's see how this goes.
Okay.
Let's go to savant.com. All right. I want to find a dealer. Let's just find a dealer.
Yep.
What's a Southern Cal zip code?
Put in famous 90210.
90210. They make movies about that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now you see some integrators there, and you see the HTA certified right there in the middle of the screen at the check mark.
Wow, look at that. That is pretty cool. Now, if I click on that, what happens?
Yep. Try it. There you go. So it explains to the consumer what HTA certification is. And there's the 3 points right there, the 3 pillars, which is a technical proficiency, it is customer service aftercare, and it's reputation. So right in it there, it shows a consumer. So Savant sees it so important that they will call it right out there. The only 2 things they will note on their screen is if the dealer has a showroom and if they're HTA certified. So those are the 2 check marks you can have, and you actually see both of them reflected there on that page. To join them, Control 4, as of a couple months ago, Control 4 dealers, as your Control 4 dealers will know, give you a microsite about your page. So if you go to Control 4 Dealer Finder and you click into a company, they will, in the microsite, will list if someone is HTA certified. And Savant does it automatically. We let them know every month that the dealer is certified, and they will update that. Control 4 is more of a manual process, but if you do the same search and you go to I know audio video experience, AVX. If you see AVX's page in there somewhere, then you click into
probably
the,
has to do with what their dealer level is, right? I think that's how they categorize them.
I believe so. Yeah.
AVX design and integration.
Yep. So if you click that, if you click into them, and then if you scroll into that a little bit, that's their microsite. And if you keep scrolling, you'll see there it is, HTA certified professional membership. So they call out if they're CEDIA, if they're HTA certified, and they're also listing if the dealer's part of a buying group. So
now, I saw that you have John Clancy from Crestron on your board. Is Crestron doing this on their dealer finder?
they're going to. So that's going to happen probably this year. They're working on their website now, and they are going to call that out. So the big three, big control brands are doing that. We'll reach out to Alon to see if they'll do it as well. All the control brands thus far we spoke to, of course, realize it's in their interest to, again, get their dealer certified. Crestron's been a big supporter. All the control brands have been great about this. So we're happy to see that support, and that's dealers are seeing this too. There's like, okay, this is real. This is good. So I can tell you, yes, so we're at 171 dealers now. I don't know if I mentioned that. So we're at 171 dealers. I forgot. I'd have to look back at the exact date we were last year to see where we were then. But it's good growth. It's a consistent growth.
Now, you sent over some show artwork, or not some show. You sent over some artwork. I'm going to put it up on the screen now. And can you tell me and the audience what this is and what we're seeing?
Yes. So we haven't talked about the budget calculator yet. So we did talk about, HTA is a differentiation, right? So you're certified. Now you have a third-party way to differentiate yourself from competition that's not certified. So that we've established. But this is the other secret weapon that we've built as a budget calculator. And that link is right there on the home screen, that little green button that says build your budget. But what you're seeing here, that screenshot I sent you, is something that our certified dealers have been asking for a while, and we built it. And this is really new. So we haven't put out the, matter of fact, I'm getting a newsletter out to all our dealers now to let them know this is available. But
so you're saying some of them might find out first from Automation Unplugged? There's a chance?
Very well could be.
All right,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, here we go.
We're breaking news, people. This is big.
Yes, this is really cool. So what that is, what you're seeing there is the budget calculator can now be embedded in the dealer's own website. So many dealers right now are linking out to our HTA page, our website, and telling the client to play with the budget calculator on our site, which we still recommend. I mean, to me, if I was an integrator today, I would still link out to the HTA budget calculator because I want the client to see what the standard's about. It's just going to make me look better as an integrator. But some dealers want to embed the calculator in their site. They don't want them to click out to any other website. Well, now they can do that. So each certified dealer gets a snippet of code that we give them, and they're able to now embed that in their site. It's the same math as our budget calculator. It's all behind the scenes, still on our website, but the client can't tell. They're on their site. It's, as you can see, it's still branded. It says powered by the Home Technology Association. And that's important because if you don't have the objectivity of an association, then it becomes an opinion. So what happens is, going back to my old company, well, that's your opinion that this is going to be $250,000, proposal. But what is the next guy down the street? When a client sees this, and they have a hand in building it, right? Because there's 17 questions. They're the ones that fill it out. It's very high level, very simple to do. It's designed for a non-techie person to figure out a high level budget. Now, when they had a hand in creating that budget and they see it's from a neutral source, they believe the numbers. And that helps the integrator immensely, because now the sticker shock is still there, but the dealer's not the one providing the sticker shock. Put that burden on the Home Technology Association. Put it on a neutral source. Once they see that, now they don't look at that proposal so suspiciously anymore, because they kind of expected to know what that budget range is. So that budget calculator I showed you in the other screenshot is the is our budget calculator now built into the site. The text at the top and bottom is a little different. This is powered by HTA. And now the client could stay in the site, but still gives it that objectivity.
So the high level concept is, if an integrator wants to add and I know that there's just a lot of people around the market that love this calculator, this third party qualification tool that doesn't make the integrator the bad guy. Let HTA be the bad guy and tell you what this thing cost. And now it allows the integrator to have already, to interact with a consumer that already has some good budgets and qualification done prior to, say, further sales dialogue or interactions. If an integrator wants to add that into their website, now you're going to give them per dealer special code that makes that possible, or what is that process like?
Yeah, there's a snippet of code that that is the same for every dealer, and the only thing that changes is the last few digits. And every HTA certified dealer has a code. So they reach out to us, we give them that code and that snippet of code and send it off to them. So yeah, it's specific to the dealer. That way too, and this actually happened a couple weeks ago, that this is before, what I'm telling you is really new, but before we had this, a couple weeks ago, I had a dealer and another reach out and say, hey, a client just built a budget and they're in this zip code and they didn't send it to me, but they said they did and they didn't. Do you have that? Can you look that up in your files? And I did. And I said, here it is. This budget was just created like a half hour ago, and I sent it on. So the budget calculator, by the way, as you might have seen in that screenshot, has the ability for the client to email the budget back to the integrator, to themselves, so that it's saved. But now, because our analytics on our side will tell which dealer, it's kind of coded. So I could say, if the dealer ever needed to come back and say how many budgets were created off my link, I could do that because we have that analytics data in the back end. So pretty neat. We're catching, we're storing data. Pretty soon we'll be able to have some interesting metrics to share with the industry, anonymized data, of course.
Sure. On average what people are searching for and what they're pricing out. I mean, that could be really fun.
Yeah. So this is neat. This is our it has to go hand in hand with our rebuilt budget calculator, which we launched about 3 months ago. We did some updates, and that tracking really started in earnest then, and we did some much needed tweaks on there. So yeah, we're very excited about that because this budget calculator is a big thing, bigger than we even thought. We always thought it was a great idea to help support those dealers out there, to explain to a client, this is what budgets really are. Here's a realistic range, what they are. And then that way a client, once they understand that, they don't doubt our numbers. That's the great thing. And a lot of work went into this budget calculator. So now you have an educated client, and dealers are proactively leveraging this. So you get a referral from an architect today, building a house, such and such. Can I meet you? Yes. Oh, well, I'll meet you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I have a little homework assignment for you. I'm going to send you to a link to a budget calculator, or now you can tell them, go to my site and play with the budget calculator, up to them. And it's going to ask you a few questions. It's only take you a couple minutes to do, but it gives you a rough idea, not only the services that we could offer you at our firm, but it gives you a budget range of what things cost. When I show up tomorrow at 4 o'clock, please let me know what you calculated, or tell them if the dealer wants to, just email the results back and we'll discuss them at our meeting at 4 o'clock tomorrow. The dealers that are doing this are reporting great things. The clients it's still sticker shock, but now it's directed not at the dealer, like, you gave me this bad news, or like they might say, oh my God, I never knew the budget ranges could go up this high. What do I get for this at the high end of the budget range? What do I get at the low end of the range? But now you have a whole different sales conversation than you did before, and clients are finding that ticket prices are going up, and it's also bringing them to more subsystems. Your typical consumer doesn't know that, oh yeah, I want you for my TV and my speakers and maybe a media room or a home theater, but they often don't know you're doing lighting and shades and all these other subsystems too, and networks, right? So now that's all exposed in there. So they're being brought to more projects. And reports back from integrators are that instead of getting shopped so many times, then hopefully they're the winner, they had the best interview, that clients are feeling adequately educated on budgets, and they're getting a design check right there because this particular dealer charges for their design, and they're getting a design retainer right there in first meeting. No need to keep shopping around, which is great because the client feels educated. Why do I have to talk to 5 people and hear the same thing over and over again? I like what you are. I like your dealer. I like you. Oh, you're certified. That looks good. You know, that means that you're really a pro, top-notch company. Why would I need to shop around? So that's happening. So yeah, great things. I want to share an experience too. I just heard this yesterday. Going back to we were talking earlier about how the differentiation works. It's not theory. This works. One of our dealers in North Carolina reported back that they just won a project over the weekend. They got the go-ahead. They were the most expensive bid. They got it. They were certified. The client told them, "We're hiring you. You're certified. You know, the gambling. Are you any good?" That gambling goes way down. The client resonated with what the certification standards about. They were the most expensive proposal. They won. And this is not the first time we hear this, but it's not theory anymore. This works. So great to hear that it's doing exactly what was intended to do.
No, that's awesome. Well, Josh, it has been a lot of fun having you back on Automation Unplugged, and it's been a lot of fun to hear about your successes and your continued growth. And I know you and your team have been forging ahead. I know I've seen you speaking at various buying group events, and you are, evangelizing this concept, this association, and you guys are growing, and it's a lot of fun to see your success.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and from the industry support's been great, and your time here to get to know more about this. And yeah, it's a great thing. There's a lot of satisfaction I have in this position here because it's really helping the industry do exactly what we want. We want to raise the industry bar, get respect for the industry, because as you know, and the industry knows, there are a lot of great integrators out there that do excellent work. Let's help them win projects. That's what this is doing. It's, we're helping these integrators win the projects that they are entitled to and qualified for, and that's great. We all win. Then our industry gets the respect it deserves.
Cameron just gave us a comment. He said the budget calculator is very easy to use. He says, sorry about that. He says, nice work.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. You might see some manufacturers building this into their website too. I'm not ready to make an announcement yet, but there are some rumblings that manufacturers want to embed it. And that is something we will, of course, allow. That's good. An informed audience is great. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, I think we should probably, to get the word out further, you have you've authored a blog for the One Firefly site, have you not?
Yes.
So perhaps we should go and provide an update on that article, and maybe even as an example, because our audience on our website is probably mostly from the trade, and perhaps we should embed the new calculator into that article just as a proof of concept. Just a thought.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's great, and we could. And if people use it, we'll be able to track it too.
There you go. You'll know who's using it and interacting with it.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, on that note, Mr. Josh, it has been a blast here. I know it's 1:15, so I think we've been. I don't have a number right in front of me, but I think we've been on and/or live for close to 40 minutes or so. So I usually try to wrap things right around there. That's usually around the attention span of most of our folks that watch or listen. And so, Josh, it has been a blast having you on again, man. And we'll have you on again. This won't be your last time.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, reach out. I think you put in the notes. People can reach out to me if they need to.
And I'm going to apologize in advance and publicly. When I was filling out the show notes to launch this live show, I made a mistake in your name. I said Home Technology Alliance, and I know it's not the Home Technology Alliance. It's the Home Technology Association. So I'm going to go after we wrap here, and I'm going to see if I can edit that description. So for posterity, it will be accurate. So I'm apologizing in advance.
All right. No problem. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Josh.
All right.
All right, folks, there you have it. We have show number, 78 now in the books. It's a blast having you on the show. I appreciate your comments, and Josh and I will be auditing the comment stream here now and into the future, and replying to all of you. So thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Don't forget, if you like this content or you think others in the industry would benefit, to please share the content. And that's how we ultimately are able to get the word out and help more people with more information. I am getting a last minute question that did just come in, and so I'm going to answer this. Ari is asking for the website. So let me do a little bit of typing here, Ari, and let me see if I can get my technology to behave. So there it is. You can go to htacertified.org, and you can see the website and learn more about HTA, and certainly give them a call. You'll probably be speaking to Josh or a member of his team. So there you go. There's the show. So everyone, thanks again, and I will see you next time on our next episode of Automation Unplugged. Thank you, everybody.